I have something for you, he said and went back to the room. He came after a few minutes. Give me your hand. He forwarded his hand. They glanced at him and his head, then back to his eyes. He signaled Tae through his eyes. They placed his hand on his. He put a ring on his ring finger. That stone would shine on his ring. I thought you needed a wedding ring. He said. He looked up at Tae, who was already looking at it. It's gorgeous, Tae said. You didn't tell me how much you love me, he said, and Tae tied his grip on his hand. You're my life. Do you know what is life? To breathe? No. To be alive? No. It's Aien and you, your voice, your presence, your call life. You both are my life, Taekook. Now pray that I live longer, and you know how will I live longer. When you both will be with me. They smile. A little of you, a little of me. Together a lot of us. Then get ready to live. Till eternity, Mr. John Taehyung. He smiled back and hugged Tae and Aien. A mischievous idea would pop into his mind. Taehyung, he called him. He tilted his face up. He covered Aien's eyes with one hand and picked Taehyung's lips again. And straight up, his eyes flew open. Jungkook, they went. Aien didn't see anything. He laughed and hugged him tightly. I love you, he whispered. I love you more, they whispered back. Aien was sitting on the floor, playing with her collection of dolls. She arranged them in a line, but one of them fell over the other, and then all of them will fall down on the floor. Oh, Aien pouted. She tried again and again, finally succeeded. Her lips stretched into a smile, but it didn't stay longer. At all they fell again. She pouted and turned her head toward her daddy, who was sitting on the chair, reading a medical journal. Daddy, she called out. Jungkook turned a page and looked up. Through Aien. What happened, love? He asked lovingly. Aien pointed at the bunch of dolls were laying in front of her. He kept aside that book on the table and walked up to Aien. Don't worry, Daddy will do it for you. He picked up a doll and arranged them. Aien took a soft doll out, made her sit on her lap and hug her, carefully looking at her daddy. Look, it's done. You were worrying for nothing, Jungkook said, and he shifted his gaze back at Aien. She smiled and stood up, keeping her hand over the shoulder. Jungkook hugged her and kissed her cheeks. Hi, baby. What do you want, Aien? Jungkook asked softly. Huh? He foamed. What, Aien? Aien said again, showed her the doll in her hand. Jungkook nodded his head unsurely. This? He showed her one of her toy, and she shook her head. Okay, we will find out. Don't worry, he told her and showed her things after one another for a while. They were not of one of theirs Aien needed. This one, Aien showed her pen. He turned around and the moment his eyes fell on her, she paused. Aien's eyes were filled with a tear. She was crying internally. He threw the pen away and picked Aien in his arm. Hey, don't cry. He hurriedly took a step toward the washroom. They? He knocked on the door impatiently. Aien is crying. Please come out quickly. Jungkook, what have you done with her? The muffled voice was calm. I have done nothing, he replied, but Aien started sobbing loudly. Don't cry. Your Oma is coming. I'll take you to the market right now so you can buy whatever you want. Okay? Just don't cry. He said worriedly. The washroom door clicked open. They stepped inside the room with a towel wrapped around his hair. What happened? The eyes and eyebrow were built into as he hurriedly took Aien for him. Aien said. They wiped her tear and walked deeper into the room. Let's go out and buy that for her. Jungkook picked up the car keys. They opened the drawer of the dressing table and picked out a comb out of it and handed it to Aien. That's it. Aien raised an eyebrow and Aien nodded, and her lips were stretched into a beautiful smile. Her eyes were shining with a tear and her nose were become red. They wiped Aien's tear skin with his finger. Aien threw her doll aside and hugged Tae. She placed her head on Taehyung's shoulder. They rubbed her back and whispered sweet to change her mood. Jungkook's eyes were fixed on them with a quizzical look at his face. She was asking for a comb, Jungkook. He brushed his lips together and shook his head. Oh, Jungkook fetched a deep breath. And we're not going to comb his hair? They asked gently. Yes, they whispered. Then let's do it, they said, making Aien sit on his lap and handed her the doll again. He took Aien's hand and started combing her hair for her doll. She's looking pretty, isn't she? Aien smiled and nodded her head. Now do it by yourself, okay? They kissed her cheeks and left her hand. Aien was busy in combing her doll's hair. Jungkook was looking at them in surprise. They placed Aien on the bed, turned around and looked at Jungkook. He roamed his gaze around the room. It was a mess. His eyes were wide. What have you done with the room? I cleaned it literally a minute ago. They face palmed, keeping his tone low because Aien was around them. Aien did, he shrieked. Stop putting the blame over my poor child. They narrowed his eyes. I'm not. Let me ask her. They tried to defend himself. Aien, it was you who created all this mess. Jungkook asked. Aien didn't reply. She was so engrossed in her own world, unaware of the situation. They unwrapped the towel for his head and hanged it over that bed rest of the chair, leaving the wet, loose hair. Wait a second, Jungkook said. He walked forward and bent down in front of Aien and asked gently, Aien, you were the one who created all this, right? Jungkook questioned again. Aien looked up and said, yes. She nodded her head a few times. See, Jungkook replied, I told you. Uh-huh. Someone is trying to be smart now. You know very well that whatever you will say, she is going to say yes. It's her these days. They pressed his lips. Do you expect for a 2-year-old child, by the way? It's not like that. Jungkook rolled his eyes.